What's up, YouTube? I'm here, giving you guys part 3 of the new cards. If you guys have seen, I've done part 1 and part 2. The part 3 will be filling in a good chunk of the void for the new stuff. So first up, we have the Frozen Ice Monarch Mobius. This card can be tribute summoned by tributing one monster that was tribute summoned. When this card is successfully tribute summoned, select 3 spell trap cards on the field and destroy them. When this card is successfully tribute summoned by using water attribute cards, this card gains the following effect. Your opponent can activate the select cards in response to this card. So if you Mobius on top of Mobius, guess what? You get the free, just blow up 3, no response for free. Very nice. And then next up is the Frozen Will of the Monarch. While there are no cards in your extra deck, select one face-up, tribute summon monster on the field. Its effects are negated, but it is unaffected by other cards other than this card. So, turns your monsters into free beat sticks, and they really want Monarchs to be extra deckless, which is actually pretty sad. But nonetheless, it seems like the new support is pretty much aimed at turning them into regular monsters. Next up is the broken Necro Valley support. Necro Valley Altar. Activate only when there's a Gravekeeper and a Necro Valley card on the field, so you have to have both. While this card's face up on the field, both players cannot special summon monsters besides Gravekeeper monsters, and if there isn't a Gravekeeper and a Necro Valley on the field, Altar is destroyed. So they get their first Necro Valley, which is actually very nice. Next up is their own Infernity Barrier. Activate while there's a Gravekeeper monster and a Necro Valley on the field. When your opponent activates a spell trap card or an effect monster's effect, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And you can only use one tome once per turn. I don't know why they only made it that you can only use one of them once per turn, but nonetheless, it's okay. Next up is the Gravekeeper Prayer Teacher. It's level 6, which is pretty bad. This card's defense increases by the number of Gravekeeper monsters in your graveyard by 200. While this card stays up on the field, monsters that activate their effects in the graveyard besides Gravekeeper monsters have their effects negated. While Necro Valley is on the field, the opponent cannot activate field spell cards or and cannot activate field spell cards, and field spell cards cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So they're finally giving them Malefic Stardust Dragon, but I'd rather just play Malefic Stardust Dragon. It's same stuff, different day. Next up is the Gravekeeper's Apostle. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can source summon one Gravekeeper monster except Apostle from your deck and face on defense position. It's actually this card right here. It's actually very nicely arted. I'm actually surprised that they chose to give them a Pokemon trainer. And then Gravekeeper's Ambush Troop. When this card's flipped face up, select one card in your opponent's graveyard and return it to the bottom of the deck. When this card's flipped face up and sent to the graveyard, you can select one Necro Valley card from your graveyard and add it to your hand, and the effect of Necro Valley cannot be negated. Which is actually very interesting also. So they gave them some really interesting cards. Next up is the Gargonic support. It is level 3 Dark for Gargoyle. When a rock type monster is normal summon, you can special summon this card from your hand, so get a free floater. If you control a Gargonic Ghoul, you can special summon this card from your hand by paying 300 life points. Oh no. Gargonic Cerberus. When this card is normal summoned, all rock type monsters you currently control will become level 3. It's actually interesting support for Rockstone right there. And then Gargonic Golem. When this card is destroyed by battle, the attack of the monster that destroyed this card becomes 0. And then during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and select one set spell trap card in your opponent's field. That card cannot be activated, and your opponent cannot activate the target card in response to this card's activation. Very interesting. Like I said, a good chunk of this support is relatively good. And a lot of the newer stuff, Gargonic might be better on later on down the road when we get more support. But nonetheless, things are coming along pretty good. Next up is the Shinra cards. If you guys have heard about these. Shinra is getting some pretty good support. Basically, the Shinra no Hagurashi Naras, it's level 4. When this card is successfully normal summoned, check the top card of your deck. If it's a plant type monster, send it to the graveyard. If not, place it on the bottom of the deck. If not, place it on the bottom of the deck. When this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by a card effect, you can select one Shinra monster from your deck and place it on the top of your deck. So we get the manipulation to set up for future plays, things like that. Next up is the Leaf. When this card is successfully... the Leaf. Let's see here. If there's a face-up plant monster among them, when you check the top 2, send them to the graveyard, then return the remainder to the bottom of the deck in any order. And then when this card's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can select one monster in your graveyard. Select one monster on the field and destroy it. Alright, next up is the store. When successfully normal summon, check the top 5. If there's a plant type monster among them, summon to the graveyard and then return the rest. And then when this card's sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can select one spell trap card on the field and destroy it. So it's all about that deck manipulation. Next up, during your main phase, check the top 3 cards. If there's a plant type monster among them, send it to the graveyard, and then rearrange the rest. And when this card's sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can select one plant type monster from your graveyard and return it to the top of the deck. So you get that deck recursion. Next up, I believe, is the Douston support and the Advanced Devoter. Advanced Devoter, this card cannot be special summoned except by its own effect. When this card is successfully attributed for a tribute summon, so when you tribute it, during your next standby phase, special summon this card from your graveyard, and then during the turn you activate this effect, you can also summon monsters from your extra deck. They're trying to give more support to Monarchs. He's really derpy looking, too. It's this guy right here. Little Mia Mario. And then the new Douston monster is actually a normal monster. I'm actually kind of sad about that. I was expecting more support. Little normal Douston down there. And then there's the new trap card for Douston Roller. Select one monster on the field. During this turn, the selected monster cannot be used for tribute, fusion, synchro, or XYZ material. And then when this set card on the field is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you get to recruit for a Douston monster. So, some more really cool support for Douston. Next up is the Ghost Trick support. We already did Roll Shift earlier. Now there's Skeleton. Basically, when it's flipped, you remove cards face down from the top of your opponent's deck, similar to the number of Ghost Trick monsters on the field. So basically, you get to mill your opponent's deck if you have 5, and they'll never know what they are. Next up is Frost. Once per turn, you can change it to face down defense position like every other Ghost Trick. So they all have that same floating effect. And then when your opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can change the monster that attacked to face down defense position, then special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position. So it's another level 1. You get to mess with your opponent's monster when they direct attack you. It's also very nice. Ghost Catgirl, when another Ghost Trick monster is on the field, when a level 4 monster or above is normal or special summoned successfully, change it to face down defense position, so you automatically get to disrupt your opponent's plays. And then last but not least is Ghost Trick Mummy. This card actually solves a majority of the problems. Basically, you get another additional normal summon for a Ghost Trick monster, which is actually very, very beautiful. It's actually something that we've needed to kind of cure a good chunk of the problems that the deck has had. There's nothing wrong with, additional support. And then the last 2 cards of interest is the Boojin Gather. You can only activate this card if it's the only card on your field. You return all Boojin Beast type warrior monsters from your graveyard to the deck, and then send all cards in your hand to the grave. Then you can add 3 Boojin Beast warrior type monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. So they're rewarding you if you play the 3 different names. And then there's the Juritsu Boojin, normal trap card. Activate this effect, this card becomes an equip card to a rank 4 XYZ monster on the field. The equipped monster's attack is increased by the number of XYZ materials it has times 300. And then once per turn, you can place 1 Boojin monster from your hand under the equipped card is XYZ material. Very interesting concept. I like the fact that I can finally recruit for another half decent card. It's not particularly good, but nonetheless, yeah. Other than that, that pretty much wraps up the support that we've got here. Just little bits and pieces finally. So tell me what you guys have thought about everything so far in the comment section down below. I hope that you guys have enjoyed these videos, and guys, thanks to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Edition Singapore and the organization for keeping us up to date with this information, and I'll talk to you guys later on.